Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wingcat Sports. And we finally have some news regarding the Red Wings. Jonathan Berggren has been signed 1 year, $875,000. Assuming we're waiting for more cap space. If he plays well this year, he'll be on the team longer, most likely. And the bigger news from yesterday when we made this video, Lucas Raymond has also been signed. 8 years, $8.075 million. He is here for the long run, and we are still waiting on Seider.
That's got two really good deals. It sounds like. We got Raymond locked up till he's 30, and we have Berggren on a very. I thought he would be at least a million and a half. I thought he.
I think we got lucky just because he hasn't had that much NHL experience yet. And they probably were trying to explain to him, yes, he will be on the team this year. If he's not, then there's no point in looking at this long term for Berggren. Berggren has a lot of potential. They just haven't been playing him. So the hope is that, we get to the point that he does end up being played.
Or he gets traded.
One or the other. We'll see what ends up fully happening with that. But for the most part, that's where we're kind of sitting at right now. It's like, where's Berggren playing this? Because, Kane's not going to be here after this year. I don't expect.
Who knows?
I mean, who knows?
He likes it here.
But I don't expect that to be the case.
He's perfectly happy signing 1-year contracts.
So,
as long as he's making money, and he's making good money, and he's got a chance to go to the Cup, I think he would entertain that, depending upon how, and we get to look at him every year and say, do we want to sign him?
Yeah.
Is he worth it? We just waiting on. The thing is, it's kind of funny because this is how we predicted at the beginning of summer what we thought he'd get.
8 for 8.
And, and it looks like Seider's going to get a similar deal. So why did it take
They're fighting. They're
long?
Trying to see how much money compared to other players.
Oh,
so Seider, what's left for Seider in our cap space is $8.75 million. Is he going to get all 8.75? That would give him.
I think he's going to ask for it.
You're going to end up paying him more than Larkin, basically. Larkin is the highest paid player on the team at $8.7 million a year.
I think they should try to get him for 8.2.
I expect probably 8.5 is where I'm going to guess he's going to land.
Something like that.
8 years. They're working on the long term.
Oh!
At the moment of making this video, at least. Because what's going to happen is I'm probably going to make this video, and about an hour or two after I make this video, he's going to get signed.
Well, we know he's going to be signed in for 8 something. 8 point something.
And
we knew this at the beginning of summer, so it's just frustrating that, they're going to get the deals that they're going to get. And I'm hoping that once we sign Seider, Stevie will still pull one more thing, a trade.
Well, we have to see what it's going to happen after training camp.
They've been talking about Vancouver goaltending. One of our goaltenders. We have a overabundance of goaltenders.
I expect Husso to be the one to be
crappy for the most part, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I think our goaltending situation is probably the weakest point of our team.
I think it's going to happen after training camp, because after training camp, that's when you're going to see how Jack Campbell's playing. That's when you're going to see how Husso's playing, right? And where are your question marks on the team? Because you're probably going to keep Linen. You're going to keep Talbot. Those are your main two. Is Husso healthy enough and playing well enough now that you want him on the team? Or is Jack Campbell good enough that you can trust him to be your goaltender number 3? That is basically what it's going to come down to. Because Jack Campbell likely is going to be in the AHL behind Sebastian Cossa, and be the one to be called up when needed. And
I'm hoping Cossa just looks.
You're hoping Cossa can be up within the next year or two, so we don't got to worry about it
in the next few months.
But we'll see what happens after training camp. It is this week. The Prospects won all 3 of their games, I believe, that they had this week.
Good.
So far. So they're playing well there in the Prospect games against the Stars. So we'll see what ends up happening.
It'll be interesting. We want to see, who is going to be making it on this team as far as the prospects go. Well, Dan just hit me up. It'll be interesting. I'm just, like I said, I'm just tired. I want this whole thing that all these guys signed, and it'll happen.
It only takes, it's like I said, usually how this thing goes. I make this video, and then he's like about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock tonight. Just when randomly we're gonna find out Seider got his extension
Probably.
and ruin this whole video, and I'm gonna have to put in the comments that he got signed. But likely he's gonna get 8 years, near between 8 and 8.5.
I think it's definite. He's going to get something similar to what Raymond had, maybe a little bit more.
So that means the next 4 years, your team is DeBrincat, Larkin, Raymond, and Seider.
Right.
And beyond that, even beyond that, you have Larkin, Raymond, Seider. That is where most of your cap is sitting for the next 5 years, for the most part.
Right. But it's going to go up.
And you will have more cap from as time goes on. But that's where it's all sitting. And then you got to think other players. If Costa comes up and he plays amazing, you're going to have to give him a deal.
Right.
So this is where it all is leaning
this
to.
Is what good hockey teams do. So this is just part of it.
Here's your Iser plan slowly working, you hope. We'll see if we're a playoff team. I mean, all our teams having playoff runs at the same time. The Lions need to play better than they currently are, but, they're okay. They'll have their playoff push this year. The Tigers right now, only a game and a half out of the playoff spot, depending on whatever happens tonight by the time this video's out. Game.
It'll be fun if the Tigers do make some miracle playoff appearance. The pressure that'll put on the Wings, because we never thought that the Tigers would beat the Wings to the playoffs.
No. My guess would have been the Wings were going to be first, but the Tigers are showing they have a chance.
Yeah.
And they're getting lucky. The Wings should be a playoff
put
team.
Some pressure on the Wings.
The Wings should be. Basically, the Tigers and the Wings are at the same point in their rebuilds right now. Both barely in a playoff push.
Ahead of them.
The Wings are ahead of them. But right now, it looks like they're at the same point. And this is, again, when you get on ownership, saying Chris Ilitch isn't the greatest owner. He has slowly built you a young, competitive team in both the NHL and the MLB.
Yep.
And
you have probably, I can't, I mean, I know it usually goes to somebody who wins, it goes to the playoffs and wins the World Series or something, but I can't think that there's a better manager in baseball than A.J. Hinch right now. What he's doing, what he accomplished.
If you get to the playoffs.
Why are we talking baseball? This is a Wings video.
It's a Wings. But I went to ownership and comparing the Wings and the Tigers. But if the Wings do well, and that goes into, I think it's Lalonde's last year.
You don't make the playoffs, I think they fire Lalonde.
I think it's his last year of his contract. I think he has to make the playoffs.
I can't.
I believe it's his last year. Either he gets an extension this year or he's gone this year. I think it's his last year.
He has to make the playoffs.
This is where the pressure's on for him. And again, comparing to other teams in the city, the Tigers make the playoffs before you do. That really puts the pressure on you.
Yep.
Because the Wings have been under a rebuild just as long as the Tigers have.
Yeah, maybe even a little longer.
So that's where you're sitting at right now. But again, two young competitive teams, really three in the city with the Lions too. They're all young competitive teams, and that's what you want to see. The only blemish on our sports record right now is the Detroit Pistons. Maybe we'll have a random video about the Pistons,
because their owners piece of garbage. But you gotta be committed as an organization to win. And I think, like I said, we've been hard on Chris Ilitch. I've been really hard on him at times. He's starting to prove me wrong, as far as my opinion about him. The Wings, despite the fact missing the playoffs, were a hell of a lot of fun last year to watch.
Yes.
Especially, oh my God, down the stretch.
Going to all those games last year.
Last 2 games of the season, those two.
That game, being at that Montreal game to end the year, that was an amazing game to be at. Right, and that was the loudest I would say, comparing to the loudness of that. I went to the playoff game too for the Lions. I would say it was equally as loud in LCA as it was for that Lions playoff game.
I think that goal got scored. That was part of the reason he came back. He said it was just an unbelievable atmosphere, and he would love to see that atmosphere in the playoffs. I think that he listened to probably the best hockey duo in the NHL right now, and Ken Cal and Kenny Daniels. I'm sorry.
Well, you have good radio hosts
Ken
too,
Daniels and
Ricky Redmond.
Mickey Redmond. Don't listen to that. I've listened to that so many times. That last few minutes, just
But
Ken Daniels is a special guy.
I'm not even joking. But the atmosphere I think was amazing in that last throughout that stretch because I was at a lot of games in that stretch. It compares to that Lions playoff. 60,000 people compared to the 20,000 in LCA.
I
I would say it was equally as loud in LCA.
that was as fun as any game I've ever seen in any sport. The crowd was crazy, loud, loud as anything the Lions had. So we know what this is like. It's hard being a sports fan because it's just so damn expensive, and when your team sucks, it just you don't have the energy to or the desire. But man, when we wake this town up, we're great sports fans. We might be the best sports city in the country. When we got something to cheer for. So give us something to cheer for, Mr. Illich.
Hopefully, Seider's done soon, and we can just look at how the season's going to look. Preseason starts in 2 weeks, and we can actually see how our young guys are playing. But with all that being said, if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, share the video around. Let us know what you think about the deals. Seider, again, likely going to be signed by the time this video goes out. Maybe not. And until next time, hope to see everybody soon.